Very warm with a high around 71 and partly sunny Sunday. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Hello, this is Rick Wasser with RV of Panama City, your local Stormore portable building dealer, located at 2241 East Baldwin Road. Shopping for a garage, portable building, cabin? We build them anywhere from 8 to 16 foot wide, 10 feet to 60 feet long. We can do insulation, electricity, transom dormers, thermal windows. Come, let's customize a building together. Rick Vossen, Stormore Portable Building Dealer, Panama City.
Mid-South Lumber, where they treat you like family. Locally owned and serving the residents of Bay County for over 45 years. See Mid-South Lumber for all of your DIY projects, including windows, doors, siding, lumber, and millwork. Are you building a new home? Bring your contractor in to Mid-South Lumber and meet with a member of their sales team to discuss your framing, siding, windows, and doors. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City. 717 West 11th Street.
It's time to pick your path and go big and go bold from Bill Bird Kia. You can drive away in a brand new 2024 Telluride from Bill Bird Kia. The 2024 Telluride protects what matters, and it's built for the long haul. Its technology will connect with confidence, and its upscale, all-around rugged look will take you on to the next adventure. The road is yours. Bill Bird Kia, the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us today at 2435 East 15th Street or BillBirdKia.com.
Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off-season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Haven, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get ready.
Let's play the game.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
I just don't think that anybody's going to succeed in that system.
It's a bad organization.
It's just a bad organization.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles.
Live and local
Look, it's impressive.
on ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Northwest Florida? You are now riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs in the Dog House, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with LSU. Jeff, what's going on, Jeff? You doing all right today?
Yeah, it's great weather and everything. Cops are pulling people over on Middle Beach Road, so don't be driving your golf cart on Middle Beach, okay?
Yeah, man. Is that not wild? All of the different type of, I guess you would say, devices, vehicles these days, especially electric and whatnot. Just the craziness that happens. You live here. Oh, wait, you live
Yeah, I moved here last year, and I was first living with my brother on the west end, which I called Retiredville because it's like nothing but retired people.
There you go.
End. And then now I'm renting over in the Cove on the Panama City side. Yeah.
Okay, so you're on PC side, so it's not as drastic trying to come from further than the west end way and having to battle that traffic. It was odd this morning on the way to work because I'm Callaway, and so on the way from Callaway, traffic was decent, which on Fridays, you get that influx of the change, kind of the changing of the guard of the spring breakers, and so you got a lot of people heading out, but a lot of people coming in, and today traffic on the way out was a lot worse than it was on the way in, which I was thankful for because it made the commute to work a little bit quicker this afternoon. But yeah, man, we've been having some fun times for the spring breakers, but not so fun for the people who live here. Yeah, and then also for the other people who come to visit the beach as a family and they can't even go to the beach, or they, checked into a hotel just because of the access that it had to the beach, and then that particular access gets shut down because of there's just been some situations where they had a whole bunch of kids, a whole slew of kids in certain areas, and so they would have to shut down those access points. So you hate it for the people who are coming to visit as a family and everything, and just ruining spring break. I used to be one of those kids, so I don't. It's hard to be like, you shouldn't do that, because I know how I was when I was a kid, and especially trying to enjoy spring break. So
yeah, I'm just a little bit older than you, but I have my LSU friends. They're spread out across the nation right now, and even one of them was like, "Is Club La Vila still open?"
Yeah,
and that's where they used to hang out in the '90s.
Yeah.
And they definitely had some good times, and they can remember most of it.
Absolutely. They can remember most of it. Great stuff there. You guys can call or text us today at 850-215-6290. We're also streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. We're going to get into some local scores today. We'll be talking with Jeff about the Final Four, talk about his bracket, how good it's doing, and how it's not even the best bracket that he's ever put out, which is absolutely amazing. And on the women's side of things, I don't know where you are on the men's side of things, but on the women's side of things, sitting there at 222 out of 1 million plus brackets. I don't know. Do you know how many there is in the ESPN?
On the women's side, I know it's in the millions, but it could be anywhere between 3 million to like 12 million, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because the men's side, oh my God, if you see how many brackets are filled out, it's like over 100 million.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Do you know where you're standing in the men's side of things?
Oh God, it's in the tens of thousands easily.
That ain't bad, though. That ain't bad.
Well, yeah. Well, the good thing is that I have UConn repeating and doing it again.
Yeah.
And that's definitely in my favor. And then I'm hoping on the women's side, I think South Carolina is more of a sure bet than UConn is on the men's side. So that 222 rank, I'm looking at the people above me, and I'm like, I could slip past half of these people in front of me because they don't have South Carolina.
Be that top 100, man, and that would be very impressive to finish in the top 100. I don't care where you finished, if you're in the top 1,000 of anything in the with more than 1 million participants in it. I've actually got UConn winning, so we'll see how that all plays out. We'll get a little bit closer to what the championship game will be tonight, and you can listen to those games right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. The women's Final Four will be. We'll get coverage started at 6 o'clock. I think 6. No, that's when the tip is. It's 6, because on the men's side of things tomorrow, 5:09 and 7:49. So, yeah, I didn't know if they had one of those odd numbers there, but you're going to get it started with North Carolina State and South Carolina tonight, and then following that game, it'll be Iowa and UConn. We'll get LSU Jeff's thoughts on all of that. Then at 5 o'clock, Kyle Wright's going to join us along with Coach Brian Haddad, and I believe Pharaoh and Monty are going to be back with us, and I'm just going to let them loose. They're going to be talking some wrestling with you guys for a few minutes this afternoon, and then at 5 o'clock, me and Kyle, we're just talking about whatever in the heck's been going on lately in the world of sports. One of the big things, one of our buddies, Dan Gonzalez, is up there in New York. My aunt's in the Bronx. I'm sure that plenty of you guys know people from it was all the way from Philadelphia to Boston is where it was felt, but that 4.8 magnitude earthquake that happened this afternoon, or this morning rather, Gleyber Torres was actually taking batting practice. He was getting pitched to from Brad Osmus. That name sound familiar? It's because he was a catcher for the Houston Astros, but 4.8 magnitude. Luckily, it wasn't, as you mentioned, when I brought this up to you, you were talking about the earthquake in '89 when I think it was the Giants and the Oakland Athletics were playing.
Yep.
Yeah,
and you know what? I mean, it was a live broadcast. They had thrown out the first pitch, and I was watching it on TV, and it was like the camera shook. And then the camera went out for, I don't know how many seconds it was, maybe like 11 or 12 seconds. And Al Michaels was doing the announcing.
Oh, wow.
And like he reacted and says, I don't know what just happened, but I guess we have a technical glitch. And then all of a sudden, the whole news came out. And, that's way before social media.
Yeah.
So, and then they were talking about, should we cancel the game? And the people in the stands, they weren't even sure what happened because they just, like shook and then it was, done. But the worst thing that really sticks out in my mind is they had a double-decker bridge. Mm-hmm. So one overpass on top of another overpass, and it fell down, and it crushed cars underneath. And that was the worst thing I remember from that. And how many times do two Bay City teams play each other in the World Series?
Yeah, that's a great point as well. And the Oakland Athletics back in that stretch, they had a much different team than they do now. I'm sure if you were to ask Fisher, he would love and I'm being facetious here, but he would love to have a earthquake take down the Coliseum, which they will be out of the Coliseum. They've been there for they've been in Oakland for 56 years now, and they're going to be playing in Sacramento moving forward at a AAA ballpark. Can't remember the name of the ballpark. I think it's like Sutter Health Park or something like that. It holds about 10,000 seats. So, and then there's going to be lawn chairs out there too. I'm being dead serious. They're going to have lawn chairs out there to get it to about 14,000. I think that's going to be the best part. The owner, John Fisher, was saying he can't wait to see athletes like Aaron Judge and others in home runs there at the ballpark. Like, you could have said someone of your own team, but no, just go straight for the jugular and promote the teams from the opposites or just the stars of the game, which I'm sure Major League Baseball is not mad at that either. Your Atlanta Braves taking on the Diamondbacks tonight. We will not be airing that game, being that we have the women's Final Four. It's going to be Tommy Henry going for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's 0-1 with an ERA of 11.25, 4 innings pitched on the year, giving up 6 hits, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 1 home run. And then Spencer Strider getting the ball for the home debut for the Atlanta Braves. ERA of 3.6. He has struck out struck out 8, giving up 3 hits, 2 walks, and 1 home run. Your Atlanta Braves lineup is going to look like this. Ronnie leading it off, playing right field. Ozzie Albies playing second, batting second. Austin Riley playing third, batting third. Matt Olson playing first, batting fourth. Ozuna in the DH spot. He'll be batting fifth. Duvall, since they're going up against a lefty, Duvall gets a start in left field. He's batting sixth. Michael Harris, the second, playing center field, batting seventh. Arcia back in the lineup. He's playing shortstop. He'll be batting eighth. And then Darno getting the start at catcher with the oblique injury to Sean Murphy. And he will be wrapping up the lineup for the Atlanta Braves. You a baseball guy?
Yeah, actually, I don't want to say it's a dream. Okay, so I have lots of bucket list stuff.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not the rich brother. I have a rich brother, and he paid for us to go to Omaha last year, and so we got to see LSU win it all against the Gators. And we were a little worried after the second game because they blew us out in game 2, and it's a best of 3. So, we crushed them in game 3, and that's a national title. It's our 7th since '91, LSU.
So and, I got to ask, how many Jell-O shots?
We only did one round.
Okay.
There was 4 of us that were there, and we just did the one Jell-O shot. We did not eat there, and to be honest with you, there were some good restaurants there. And if I can talk about it for a second,
of course, take your time.
Before going up there, I thought they should rotate the College World Series around to different cities across the nation.
Yeah,
and it's kind of fair. Then I realized how much of a welcome mat those guys in Omaha roll out, and they own it, they love it, and is their Indianapolis 500, their Kentucky Derby, that's their thing.
Yeah.
And they embrace it, and they go to the games just like fans from Florida or LSU or Wake Forest go up there to go enjoy themselves. And so I would and be in the audience and meet people who are locals, and then you go to the bars and the restaurants, and they love you being there. It's like a dog hadn't seen you in a while. Yeah. It's like, hey, you're here. We love you being here. And I know it's only 2 weeks, but and I'm telling you, they are locked in till I think 2036 to Omaha. And I think it's a great idea for it to just stay there. And it's been there for 51 years now.
Yeah.
And, so, I mean, I'm not pro Nebraska anything, but I think that they should keep the College World Series there.
Why aren't you pro Nebraska anything?
Well, growing up, okay, let's rewind for a second.
Here we go.
I believe Nebraska beat LSU in the 80s in 3 different bowl games.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. It was two times in the Sugar and 1 time in the Orange Bowl. And, you just don't like teams that beat you, really. But I really didn't hate them. The people up there are really good people. They're Midwest and they're just friendly, and they aren't one of the most toxic fan bases. And they lose now a lot in different sports, and they don't talk trash, which it's irritating when a fan base is like, okay, you're average or worse, and you're still talking.
Yeah.
I mean, just quiet. We
have a couple of those fan bases around here, but we absolutely love you, man. We absolutely love you. That's. And it's interesting because I think a lot of us have those kind of takes, right? Where it's like, I wish they wouldn't do it like this. And we haven't really been able to experience that. And I've never been to Omaha. But I could see that side of it where it's like, just like the NCAA championship or the NCAA tournament championship. And that's in a rotation. And the college football playoff is in a rotation. So it would make 100% sense to have the College World Series in a different place every year. But then when you get to go up there and check it out, and the fact that it did change your mind even cements in my mind, like, that's a great thing for baseball. And who knows if they were to move it, what the ramifications of that would be. Would you be able to find another venue that would be, especially from the local people, as gung-ho? But then again, you add money to anything like that, and everyone's going to be lining up to be able to be a part of that. So
yeah, the other one they definitely improved on was the NFL draft when it left New York. Hit Kansas City, hit Philadelphia, hit Nashville,
Cleveland,
Vegas. I think it hit Vegas one time, and I'm like, wow, you could see on TV that it's electric like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of less in New York. It was a lot more businessy. It felt like, and then you went Nashville, Kansas City, all of these other places, and you kind of bring the fans out, and just put them in more of their own natural habitat. And I think that is a lot better for the draft. And the more people that you can get there to boo Roger Goodell, that's the best thing that you could possibly do. We're going to run through some of these scores real fast. In high school softball last night, North Bay Haven took down Arnold in extra innings 6-2. It was North Bay Haven was down 1-0 in the top of the 7th. They played 7 innings, and then sophomore Allie Brady got an RBI double to tie the game, sending it to extra innings after she struck out 3 Arnold batters in the bottom of the 7th. The Bucks exploded for 5 runs in the top of the 8th. Holly Wade, the freshman, getting the go-ahead RBI single. Then Brady picked up her second RBI to make it 3-1. Freshman Bailey Gladden hit a 3-run shot, and that made it 6-1. The hero of the night, Allie Brady, finishing the job in the bottom of the 8th to clinch the county title for the North Bay Haven Buccaneers. With that win, North Bay Haven tied Arnold with a county best 4 Bay County championship victories since the annual tournament's inception. The Bucks are now 16-2 on the season. They're going to be taking on Bozeman Monday, April 8th, and the Marlins 15-2. They're taking on Bozeman Tuesday, April 9th. So some tough goes there for Bozeman softball as they get the representatives of the Bay County Championship for softball. Cottondale took down Chipley last night, 11-7. Freeport over Ponce de Leon, 4-3. St. John Paul II beat Bluntstown 6-2. Alpha over Sneed, 17-6. Niceville beat Crestview 10-3. Vernon over Graceville, 15-7. Liberty beats Holmes 4-0. Childs over Franklin, 8-2. And then Central beats Paxton 11-7. In baseball, it was Mariana taking down Sneeds by 11, 12-1. Graceville and Chipley. Graceville forfeited that game, so Chipley gets the win 1-0. Chipley over Malone, 14-2. North Florida Christian over over Mosley 2-1. Cottondale takes down Freeport 10-1. Holmes County over North Bay Haven 6-2. Alta beat Weewa 22-4. Rocky Bayou over Ponce de Leon 8-7. Opp beats Walton 3-2. Poplar Springs takes down Bethlehem 18-3. Rutherford beats Gadsden County 22-5, and then Callaway with a 5-0 shutout win over Bluntstown. And then in high school weightlifting and traditional, Choctaw takes first place overall with 46 points, Baker with 30, Fort Walton Beach with 25, and then Arnold in fifth at 22. And the Olympic weightlifting, Choctaw with 59, Baker 28, Arnold 25, and Fort Walton Beach 23 points. And in JUCO baseball, Northwest Florida, we were talking to Coach Scott Thomas. He is the Gulf Coast Lady Commodore softball coach. He was watching that game from the parking lot yesterday, and it was a close game when he was on the line with us, but Northwest Florida ends up beating Gulf Coast by 9 runs. The score there 10-1, and then Chipola beat Pensacola by 1 run, 12-11. We've got a little traffic update brought to you by the Bone Crusher. Front Beach Road is jammed from Thomas Drive to Pier Park. There is a lot of volume, and it is heavy on Highway 98. So the consensus is if you need to go to the beach, maybe change your plans up because it is not looking good out this way. I think it's been jammed up pretty much every night this week, hasn't it? Yeah, it's tough to get around.
Yeah, it's rolling. A lot of times, we'll say 10 miles per hour. You just got to be patient with it, or if you don't know, Hutchinson is Middle Beach Road.
Yeah.
That is definitely a workaround, and of course Back Beach and a little bit of construction, and it slows down. I mean, come on, you don't have to go 45. You're on Back Beach Road, you can crawl down to 30, 35. You'll get there. I mean, you're just losing like 4 or 5 minutes, really.
Yeah, there you go. Optimism. Love the optimism. See, my thing was back in the day, you had the essentially the straight stretch of Back Beach there. So it was like as if I liked it when the strip, when Front Beach was all compiled up and you're at a 10-mile-an-hour crawl, and then those of us who were from around here would take Back Beach, and it made it a lot easier to get around. But hey, good old GPS these days has everyone taking the best available route.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good that, I don't want to say it's good that traffic is up, but there's a lot of business owners out there that are hurting. I know of one in particular. And, this flux of traffic and, sales is good for the economy here. Yeah. Listen, if they weren't here, all these condos that are renting out, all the food places, alcohol, there's a lot of places that are profiting from this, and I'm not against them, but there was an accident last night. I don't know if you knew about that. So it was on the East End on Front Beach Road, and everybody jumped to the conclusion that it was tourists, and it was not. It was a 45-year-old woman and a 49-year-old woman, and one woman hit the other woman, and they were both locals, and she died. And so they shut down Front Beach till 9:45 at night last night. And that's tragic that somebody, passed away.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And I'm not against the tourists at all by any stretch of the imagination. I know where my place is, and it's on the opposite end of the bridge, Yeah, no, for sure, though. It's great to kind of be a part of that. The mixture of having the locals and the tourists, and they do without them coming, we don't have the Panama City Beach that we know and love around here. So very thankful to all of the families who come down and spend their money with our community for sure. Let's see, Zach Eady, Caitlin Clark, both going back to back with AP Players of the Year. Kelvin Sampson, Coach of the Year. Any surprise with Kelvin Sampson being Coach of the Year?
Houston had a great year. I think a lot of people were talking about Houston coming into the Big 12 and that they weren't going to make a wave, and guess what?
They made a wave.
They only made a wave. They were ranked like basically number 1 or number 3 pretty much the whole year, and they took the Big 12, and Kansas looked like just another team in the mix. Because let's be honest, Kansas probably won 18 of the last 20 times in the Big 12, and they dominate the Big 12. And So I'm not knocking Houston except for the fact that I had them going to the Final Four, and it messed up my men's bracket a little bit.
Oh, I messed mine all up because I ended up having San Diego State taking down UConn. In the Sweet 16. So that bracket that I spent, an hour and a half, 2 hours trying, really trying to pick the matchups and thinking, all right, well, UConn, in my opinion, UConn obviously is, but even when I was putting my bracket together, was the best team in the tournament. But it was one of those things. Just because you're the best team doesn't mean that you're going to be able to. Yeah, exactly. Are you going to be able to ride the waves? And so I was thinking maybe with the experience that San Diego State has with the run that they had last year, but no one's coming close, and I don't think Alabama's going to come close. And North Carolina State, Purdue could be a different story, but we're going to find out more from LSU Jeff when we return. Y'all call us, man. 850-215-6290. We will be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida has your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Geico 500. Join Coach Hale mornings at 7:15 and 8:15 to enter. The race to Talladega. Then at 12:15 and 5:15, listen for your name called. If we announce your name, race to the phones. How long it takes you to call 850-215-6290 is your qualifying time. The fastest qualifying times win a pair of tickets to Talladega. Right here from ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Friday's weather forecast. Sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 72 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, a light breeze and a temperature of 52. About the same tomorrow, around 73 with sunshine and a wind at 7 miles per hour coming out of the north-northwest. Very warm with a high around 71 and partly sunny Sunday. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
At Creative Gems, we believe every piece of jewelry tells a story of love, legacy, and the art of fine craftsmanship. Family owned with every detail crafted on site in Panama City, Florida, we invite you to experience more than just shopping. It's a journey to remember. Come visit us online at creativegemsinc.com or in our showroom on Jenks Avenue. Open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Creative Gems.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? We can typically replace them while you wait. Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? In many cases, we can have it back to you the next day. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, just south of Tractor Supply. The best place in town to take a leak.
Takes, the latest trades, in-depth interviews.
That is my reaction.
We break it down for you right here.
Very big springboard for the rest of my career.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
That's the problem right there.
4.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 right here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. ESPN Northwest Florida presents The Blast at Bay Point. You can play the Masters Fantasy Challenge to win a foursome at the beautiful Bay Point Golf Club in Panama City Beach. It's free to play. You just sign up at ESPNPC.com and you can invite your golfing buddies to play along with you. Keep listening to win amazing prizes from your official station for fun and games on the Gulf Coast, ESPN Northwest Florida. We are a little under an hour away from playing the race to Talladega, so make sure to keep your phones on you. Have 850-215-6290 dialed up and ready to go. If we call your name, call in, and how long it takes you to call back is going to be your qualifying time. The time to beat is swift, and I'm not talking Taylor here. We're talking 2 seconds. That is your time to beat for the qualifying time. We've got a couple of guys up there tied for the pole position right now. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this Final Four here, and we'll start on the men's side of things. Give me your synopsis of. We'll start with the North Carolina State. What game is more intriguing to you? North Carolina State, Purdue, or Alabama and UConn?
I say North Carolina State, Purdue because I didn't think that Purdue was going to make it this far. And, of course, NC State's 11 seed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the wild card right there, and that's the, for lack of a better word, Cinderella.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's up for grabs because Purdue is a 1 seed, but I thought that they would not make it this far. I feel like Edie's been getting a lot of calls, man. And I don't really like, I don't know, I'm looking at some of them and I'm like, that wasn't really a foul. And I think that he's getting some preferential treatment. And I thought as soon as somebody shuts him down inside, that Purdue doesn't have the outside shots, the playmakers on the outside to get to the Final Four. So I did not have them in the Final Four.
Yeah.
And so that's more intriguing. I think UConn's just too much. I mean, I'm not knocking Alabama, just because I'm an LSU guy. I think it's great that they made it this far. I didn't have them coming this far, that's for sure.
I had them losing in the second round.
Oh, God. No.
I had them losing to St. Mary's, but St. Mary's ended up losing to Grand Canyon. So Alabama opened up with Charleston. The thing for me was it was down the stretch, right? When you need to be playing your best basketball down the stretch of the regular season and then into the SEC tournament, getting blown out by Florida twice in the course of a week and a half or so. Yeah. And so it was like the defense just wasn't playing. That's the whole thing. You see Alabama leading the nation in scoring at like 90.2 or 90.8 per game, 90.8 points per game. And the whole point of them hoisting up threes in the way that they do is the hard hat defense, right? That's what Nate Oates' kind of philosophy is put the hard hats on, play good defense, and then shoot as many threes as you want at that point. And they were shooting as many threes as they wanted, but they weren't playing the brand of defense that should be getting them to that point. So I really didn't think that they were going to be strong enough to make the run that they have made to this point. And I definitely didn't think they were going to be taking down North Carolina.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I made a face because I was like, wow, you had them losing in the second round. Well, I had them losing third round because they're going to play the Tar Heels.
Yeah.
I mean, really, at one round, that's not much of a difference, really. Yeah. Yeah, I thought Alabama, they were in first place most of the season in the SEC, right? They had trouble on the road, like, losing at Auburn, but beating Auburn at home.
Yeah.
And they did it to other teams where they were just not great on the road. And Auburn was one of those teams that's great at home also. But Tennessee stole it. I thought Tennessee was strong. I believe I had Tennessee going to the Final Four or the Final 8 in the men's bracket. So, I kind of respected Tennessee a lot. And, but, the biggest disappointment really was Kentucky and Auburn in the first round. I did not see that coming at all.
I actually had, and this kind of is the opposite of my other point, talking about Alabama down the stretch, because Kentucky wasn't playing great down the stretch, but they were playing decent. So I had them playing, making it to the Final Four. And I think a lot of that had to do with their bracket and how it played out. But I can't remember. No, I did. I definitely had them playing in the Final Four because I had San Diego State, I had North Carolina and Purdue, and the other team was Kentucky. So I'm sitting there with just one team in the Final Four in that particular bracket. So.
Yeah, no, I had UNC and Houston were my two, I want to say, biggest misses.
Yeah.
But I both had both of those 1 seeds in the
so you had all 4 final seeds?
No, okay. I had 3 1 seeds. I did not have Purdue because I thought...
Oh, that's right.
I thought Purdue was going to get shut down, and I believe it was Tennessee.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's who they played last week.
It was Tennessee. I had Tennessee in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Losing to Houston, and then Houston losing to UConn in the final. And I said it before the whole tournament started. I said, you know what? Okay, so Duke won back-to-back in 91, 92. Florida won back-to-back in 07, 08. Or no, 06, 07? 06, 07 with Joaquin Noah, right? Nobody's won back-to-back since then.
You're right.
So we're talking, this has been more than, 16 years, we'll say? 17 years? I said, this is the best chance for somebody to go repeat. I think UConn's going to do it. And lo and behold, it ain't over with, though. UConn could fall, but in my best judgment right now, I think the only team that's a bigger lock than UConn is the South Carolina women.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, Don Staley has them playing great basketball, but Coach Hurley's got UConn. I mean, the 30-0 run against Illinois, it would be different if Illinois was a slouch of a team, but like they were playing really good basketball in a tough conference as well in the Big Ten. And what was the score? 28-23, I think, going into the half, somewhere around that. It was a 5-point deficit, I believe. And then UConn 30-0 run. How do you stop something like that with Tristan Newton and Donovan Clingan? They're playing some really good ball. And Clingan, I mean, you could make the argument that UConn, if they had a healthy Clingan all year long, maybe they're undefeated at this point.
Yeah, well, UConn, the 30-0 run was 5 points before half. Mm-hmm. You know, we'll neglect that.
Yeah,
to open 25-0 in the second half.
Right.
I've never seen that, witnessed that in my life, not on a college or pro level. So maybe high school.
Yeah, maybe high school would be.
Never in college. And I've seen a lot of basketball, that's for sure.
Yeah. Do you think of the Purdue North Carolina State game, do they keep DJ Burns on Zach Edey, or do they try to find someone else to guard him?
No, I think, okay, so I think he does stick to him. Mm-hmm. He's a big guy, and I mean, that guy's solid. Burns is just solid.
Yeah.
Edey is 7'4.5".
Yeah.
Don't forget the half now.
Don't forget that.
It's a tall guy, but he's not meaty. You know, he's not beefy yet.
Yeah.
Shaq was like that, back in college. He needed to, gain some weight.
Edey would be like 350 pounds if he gained it.
Or be like Burns.
Yeah.
Because all this talk about, Burns going to go play as a lineman in college. Football, he's like, no, I don't do that. But anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, the only way that Burns is going to come off of Edey is foul trouble. Foul trouble, you got it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, man. What's the matchup? What are some of the matchups that you're kind of looking forward to watching in these games?
Oh God, and I don't really have any ones, because I just, when I'm watching this Purdue NC State game, I mean they have depth and they've been tested all year long. Because let's be honest, Duke and North Carolina were the only two ranked ACC teams throughout the whole year.
Right.
As soon as the others dropped out, they were gone. They never popped their head back up. And that, that's why I had NC State win in first round, and that was it. And that was only because of their run that they did in the ACC tournament and won the whole tournament. But no, I don't know. I don't see any really matchup. Actually, the women's side has better matchups as far as girls go.
Yeah.
And,
all right, give me some matchups that you're looking forward to there.
All right. So Paige Buckers is the UConn girl. She's averaging 22 points per game. And then they got this girl, Aliyah Edwards.
Yeah.
Not only is she 17.6. Okay, in women's basketball, they don't score but 65 points usually.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa's the, exception to the rule, right?
Yeah.
But this girl's got 9.3 rebounds per game. I mean, they're hustling.
Yeah.
And, Gino Auriemma, is that how you pronounce his name? Yeah. I mean, this guy is a motivator. He's not there by any chance. I mean, him and Pat Summitt are the coaches of forever for women's basketball. And, I mean, I really wasn't worried about UConn, even though I did pick them for the Final Four. I did not think that they had a really much of a chance versus Iowa. But, hey, look, double threat. And, it's a little bit of outside shot because, when Caitlin Clark, when she took over in the third quarter versus LSU, because, it was a complete contest in the whole first half. When she took over in that third quarter for a little while, yeah, it became a different game. But, if she has a dry run against UConn, that's the game that I think is the biggest chance of an upset in all of the men's or the women's brackets right now.
Well, she will be coming off the bench tonight, according to Jay Henry.
I heard that, and that's just crazy.
Hey, man, that's what Jay gets paid the big bucks for, is to have the great stuff.
She didn't come out against LSU.
Yeah, she's not coming. She won't be coming off
all
the bench.
All 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I tried that when I was like 25 years old.
To play all 40?
To play? No. It wasn't organized.
Okay.
It was with my buddies.
Yeah.
And up and down that court. I mean, just gaining like 10 pounds, and just a few years and not being active like that. Oh my God, basketball. I mean, I know soccer, they run up and down the field all day long, but Yeah, basketball, man, it can run you down, and you get a few years underneath you. It's not the same anymore.
That's why I'm a huge fan of like softball and stuff, because I can run the base paths for you. You know what I mean? Because I get a break. Even if I got to go first to home. I can do that, and I don't lose. I don't go out of breath or anything like that. Run around in the outfield. I'm primarily an infielder, but if they want to throw me out there in the outfield, I'll run after that. But I was playing basketball a few weeks ago over there at Lighthouse Church, and we were just playing half court. And it was kind of cold outside. You know how that cold kind of compresses your lungs a little bit more. And man, I was at the end of that game. I was like, man, I need a little bit of a breather. Anybody got one of them cans of oxygen? Come on now. But yeah, you're right. To play 40 minutes in a game is absolutely impressive. Do you think she goes over 33.5 points tonight?
Yes.
Easy?
Yes. I don't think it's easy. I'm thinking 37 or 38 points.
Okay.
I mean, she got 41 on LSU. She's done 40-something, numerous times. There were people arguing with me about that she's the closest thing to Curry. And they were saying, oh, she's never shot over 40% for a whole season on 3 points. I'm like, no, let me tell you, she's hitting them from half court.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what Curry does. It's not just the percentage rate. It's that,
It's the craze that she creates for the fans.
Oh, yeah.
It's the competitive nature that she brings as well. There's a lot of similarities between her and Curry. Now the next step will be because Curry did this in college as well, right? Kind of created that craze when he was over there at Davidson. Now can Caitlin Clark take that next step and do that at the WNBA and create a buzz that really hasn't? There's been a few players. There's been a lot of great players that's went through those doors of the WNBA and never really created sustained success for them, or at least sustained popularity. Do you think that changes with not just Caitlin Clark, but now you're going to have the rivalry born there of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, Sabrina Ionescu. There's a lot of good names over there in the WNBA. Do you think that Caitlin Clark takes that popularity to the next level?
Well, let me tell you why that's going to happen.
All right.
And I don't think it's going to be a craze, but the first pick in the WNBA draft, Indiana.
The Fever.
Yeah. And then she's a Midwest girl. She didn't leave home. She loved to stay in Iowa. Indiana's going to embrace her. They're basketball lovers there in Indiana. So she's going to go to Indiana, and then LA Sparks got the second pick, and we'll see if it's Angel Reese or who happens at number 2. Yeah. Because Angel Reese is not a lock for number 2.
Right.
But it'd be interesting. And that LA lifestyle, she models bikinis and stuff like that. Her social media is just like, it's unreal. I mean, I've never seen them be that crazy at LSU, especially because they have 2 basketball players who have, what is it, tens of millions of followers. And then the gymnastics girl at LSU too.
Oh yeah, Livy Dunn.
Yeah, so I'm not of that generation. My daughters are. Yeah, and they're both in college. So
you keep you get updated from your daughters on what's going on.
And they ask me questions like, "Hey, Dad, do you know who such and such is?" And I go, "No, who's that?" She's like, "What is it? As a Green Bay defensive back who married a
Simone Biles?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of his name right now.
So whatever his name is, she's like, "Hey, Dad, do you know who such and such is?" I have no idea. Who is that?
Jonathan Owens.
Yeah, Jonathan Owens. Yep, that's it. And so I'm like, I don't know who that is. And he tried to say that he didn't know who she was. And I was like, what? I was like, this guy's insane. He thinks he's more famous than her. And it just made me laugh. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
So you went to LSU, and you also went there at the same time period of Shaq. So did you get to go to, were you going to games when he was playing there?
Yeah. And actually the most memorable one was February of 92. So it was his third year, his final year. Duke came into town with Bobby Hurley and Christian Laettner and Grant Hill and Thomas Grant, and they were coming off of a national title, and they ended up winning another one that year also. But anyway, they came into Baton Rouge, and they had everybody camped out in tents down the ramp to the entrance to the basketball arena, which is called Pete Maravich Assembly Center, named after Pete Maravich, Pistol Pete. So anyway, and they stayed out overnight in February. It was freezing cold outside. And so that was one of the most memorable things about, and we gave them a tussle for the first half, and into the third, Well, no, it's halves. That's right. Yeah, into the beginning of the second half. And then they pulled away by a little bit. I can't remember if they won by 9 or something like that. But Duke was just invincible. I mean, they were deep and outside shot, and then Leitner was on the middle, and he wasn't a pushover. For a white guy, Leitner, he stood his ground. He had balls because he was from blue-collar Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people didn't know that. They just thought, it's a pretty boy,
Yeah.
No, man, that guy's got elbows, and he's going to throw them.
Yeah, there you go, man. Pistol Pete and the Caitlin Clark debate. Where are you at on that? Who's the greatest of all time in that sense?
Okay, so the thing that's against Caitlin Clark, obviously, is that Pistol Pete did not have a three-point line. Mm-hmm. And also that Pistol Pete, back then, players were not allowed to play their freshman year.
Yep. So he missed out on a whole year and a point for most of his shots, more than likely.
And he was averaging over 40 points per game.
Yeah.
Averaging.
Absolutely
Averaging.
Insane. Yeah.
And, but no, I mean, nothing to take against Caitlin Clark. They do play more games nowadays.
So there's just the reality of it. Nothing against Caitlin Clark, but there's just something about the time in which Pistol Pete was playing and what he was able to do. And I just think if he was playing in a day and age where there was a three-point line, he was a showman. So he would be doing some of the same things that what you're seeing from Steph Curry and what you see from Caitlin Clark, and to do anything to kind of pump that crowd up and get the W at the same time. You guys are riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to be right back, and we're going to take you out there to Texas, to Arkansas, talking about a football field. We'll be right back.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Friday's weather forecast. Sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 72 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, a light breeze and a temperature of 52. About the same tomorrow, around 73 with sunshine and a wind at 7 miles per hour coming out of the north-northwest. Very warm with a high around 71 and partly sunny Sunday. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey there, folks. Looking for a place that feels like home right in the heart of Panama City? Well, look no further than Charlie Corm's place at their new location on 15th Street. Charlie Corm's is not just a place, it's an experience. Imagine cozy corners, friendly faces, and the aroma of delicious dishes that'll make your taste buds dance. From sunrise breakfast to late night bites, Charlie Corm's on 15th Street has it all. Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street is now offering exclusive weekday lunch specials. Visit Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street. Look for the giant mural.
Calling all hospitality pros, ready to be your own boss? Then get the Crew app and get connected to flexible work in the industry you know and love. With Crew, you call the shots. Work where, when, and how you want, and get paid right after. Flexibility and fast cash, that's the Crew way. Crew lets you earn quick cash on your terms. All you need to bring is your awesome attitude. Take control of your economic destiny with Crew. That's CROUX.co. Crew, your new side hustle.
Karen bought 83 liters of Dr. Thunder, a suitcase full of Cheez-Its, and a drum of Crisco. Now she's crying about using the self-check at Walmart.
Maybe we should speak to a manager or something.
Just saying. ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back in about 30 minutes. We're going to be playing the race to Talladega. Here's how you can play. Win 2 passes to the Geico 500. That'll be for Saturday and Sunday, April 20th and the 21st. You got to listen to Coach Hale Show mornings at 7:15 and 8:15 in the morning for the code word of the day. When you hear it, text that code word and your racing name to 850-215-6290. Then you listen in at 12:15 with the Inside Drive and 5:15 with the Underdogs. If we announce your name, race to the phones and call 850-215-6290. How long it takes you to call back is your qualifying time. The fastest qualifying time each week wins the race to Talladega. We've only got one more more week of this contesting. Kyle Wright and Brian Haddad in the building. I almost wanted to tell them to come in to listen to this next clip. Hey, y'all, you go ahead and get them Bone Crusher. Then we're going to play this clip. So Jay had sent me some prank calls earlier this afternoon, so I was listening to some of those, and then while I was doing my show prep, I was just listening to old prank calls, and I came across this one where Craig O'Neill was, y'all get in here and put some headphones on, all right?
They need to hear what's coming.
Yeah, y'all need to hear this.
I've heard this. They haven't heard this. This is hilarious.
So this is from, I don't even know when they made this call, but this was back in the day. Craig O'Neill putting on a little prank call, and Brian's going to miss it because he's going to get some water here. So I'll stall for a few more minutes, but make sure you get your phones ready and have 850-215-6290 dialed and ready to go at 5:15 if we call your name. All right, Bone Crusher, go ahead and roll that clip.
Here we go.
Men's Athletics.
Hi, is this the University of Texas Athletic Department?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I need to talk to somebody. This is a groundskeeper up at War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock. I got a real problem here. Can I talk to somebody there?
Okay, let me twist you to the athletic director.
Yeah, this is Walker.
This is Gilbert McElroy up here in Little Rock at War Memorial Stadium. I'm the groundskeeper.
Yes, sir, Mr. McElroy.
And I was calling Mr. Dodd, who is the athletic director there, trying to talk to Coach McWilliams. Are either one of them in?
No, sir, I don't believe they are. I could check for you.
Well, we've got a small problem up here, and
yes, sir.
And I just want to know how to handle it.
Well, I'll try to help you if I can.
All right. What it is last night, our boy that marks the field on the AstroTurf.
Yes, sir.
The sun was going down. It was getting real dark, and naturally we don't want to have to turn the lights on to mark the field. And his deadline was last night, and so it was dark, and he didn't realize what he was doing, and he was putting y'all's name in our south end zone. And he added an extra S.
I beg your pardon.
He put an extra S on your name.
How do you mean that? What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is it's TEXASS. And we don't have enough time to take that off. And I just want to know how we ought to handle this. That's why I want to talk to Coach McWilliams or Mr. Dodd.
Well, I think he's going to tell you the same thing I am. I think you need to get the S off of there.
Well, there's no way we can do it, sir, because it's just too involved. I don't know what to do about this.
Well, you just got.
He's talking to the athletic director.
Encountered anything quite like this.
See, if y'all run down the field, it's going to say Texas. So
this is a joke, right?
No, sir. This has really happened here.
Son, see if you can find the coach. See if you can find him right now.
You better get the coach.
Right now, go get him.
Are you?
I think if we can't get that off, and your name was McElroy?
Yeah, Gilbert McElroy.
Mr. McElroy, if you can't straighten this off, I think we've got a serious problem here.
But now, one thing we can do is put two lines down the middle of S and make it look like a dollar sign. What do you think of that?
I guess anything's better than nothing, but I think that's a pretty poor solution to this problem.
All right. Now
can't you just white the whole thing out? Just white it out.
All right, now,
paint the whole thing out.
All right, no, it may not be dry by game time. If your boys score or our boys score, they're going to get that paint all over them. Now, also, that can cause whelps to break out on your skin. You ever rubbed up against that stuff? I'm telling you, Mr. Walker, this is a real crisis here. This game's going to be on TV, and I just...
well, we certainly don't want it to say tax ass, do we? Well, I think that we got to do something about this.
I think our dollar sign's our best bet. I really do.
That doesn't sound like a reasonable solution.
It does to me,
Mr. McElroy.
It does to me.
And I think that we better get our respective athletic directors involved with this, sir. And is this the best you folks up in Arkansas can do?
Well, for right now, that's the only thing I can. Unless you think we ought to add another S to Arkansas. Make it even.
Don't think that would make any sense at all.
Well, we'd have two.
That doesn't make any sense to me at all, sir.
Well,
I don't think that does. I think we just need to get the S out of there.
I think what I need to do, sir, is I think I need to get in touch with Coach Broyles right now.
No, hold.
I'm going to be calling Coach Broyles right now. Hold on a minute. That's Coach McWilliams right now. Hold on a minute.
Brief pause in the in the conversation. This is like the third time I've listened to this.
Not too happy about this either, sir.
All right.
Mr. McElroy.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make the S into a B. We're going to make the S into a B. You following this?
Not very well, sir.
All right, and a 98.5.
What B 98.5?
Yes, sir.
I don't understand that, sir.
Yes, sir.
What good will that do?
Well, that's my radio station, Mr. Walker.
Oh, so that is
pretty good.
That's Craig O'Neill with a good old prank call, man, and something we don't hear as much of these days. I don't even know what the legality of that would be. Can we just go ahead and start calling random people on the line? You just punch up random numbers? I don't think that would work out, huh?
Yeah, we'll go over the laws there in a minute.
I would imagine he would have had to signed off to his being used, but
right, technically speaking, you're not supposed to air somebody on the air without their permission. So at the end of the call, he must have gotten their permission. Otherwise, it's not quite legal.
Right.
Yeah, no, I've already done all the research, or not all the research, but I was already researching this. I just wanted to get your take on that, Bone Crusher. And I know when you say, well, technically, that means, hey, let's just go ahead and do it. But no, good to have Brian and Kyle in the building with us.
I hope that guy, the AD over there in Texas, is not listening to us right now.
Yeah. That is a good point here. But, Jeff, what are some other things that you wanted to talk about before we wrap up the first hour of this show today?
Oh, shoot.
Have we already gone through
yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's college baseball season too.
Yeah. What's your outlook here for the LSU Tigers this year?
They won season in right now. They lost to Southern this week in the middle of the week. Now they went up 9-0 on Vanderbilt last night and ended up holding on 10-6, and Vanderbilt's not bad. I mean, they're not in the top 3 of the SEC.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because Vanderbilt's usually there. But Arkansas is pulling away. Kentucky and Texas A&M are the surprise teams of baseball right now. But do not knock Clemson. Clemson is the ACC, but I mean, I think Arkansas and Clemson are looking the best right now. And believe it or not, so Clemson has taken a loss to Kennesaw up near Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay. Clemson has 3 losses. Okay, so it doesn't come easy, right?
Right.
Kentucky's 24-4. They lost 2 of their 4 games to Kennesaw.
Okay. Yeah. So Kennesaw is one of those teams that we watch out when it comes tournament time?
Yeah.
It might be the new Dallas Baptist.
Yeah, exactly. Dallas Baptist, who should have had was it a regional, I think, last year?
Yeah.
Dallas Baptist got disrespected. Should have had a regional last year. They did not get one, so they got sent up to Oklahoma State, and they knocked them off.
You know what?
Kyle knows all about that disrespect by committees.
Hey, I was here that day. I remember that one. How'd LSU's first SEC baseball series go this year? I don't remember.
Oh my God! So
you do great.
So went and played Mississippi State, and they took 2 out of 3.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Yeah,
how many?
They lost. We lost that series against Mississippi State, who's actually, I want to say, average in SEC, but pretty much.
Yeah.
State's average.
Well, mid-pack's been better than been the last 2 years. Can't even make the
last year. Last year was a down year for State. Yeah. But no, they took 2 out of 3, and then LSU got. We lost 2 out of 3 to Florida, and then we beat Vandy.
Yeah.
So, wait a minute. So wait, no, who did we get swept by? I think we were 2-4, and we got swept by somebody. We lost all 3. I think it might have been Arkansas. It was Arkansas. Yeah. It was Arkansas. We got swept. So it was 2-7 at that point, and then we beat Vandy last night. So we're 3-7. 3-7. You're defending national champs. Yeah. You do the math. Do you think that's good for SEC?
SEC's nuts. I mean, Mississippi State's first 3 conference series were against number 2, number 7, and number 6 in the country. Not in the SEC, in the country. Although it was probably in the SEC as well. And they haven't played Arkansas yet.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
And the way that they work it, which I don't really agree with, so LSU plays everybody in SEC except for 3 teams. I know Georgia's one of them, which Georgia's actually having a great year.
What's the kid's name? Charlie Condon, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
They do have one great player. I'm blanking on his name right now.
And they beat what they run ruled Tennessee in Knoxville. And so Georgia fans are just like jumping up and down like, hey, we haven't won one since 1990. It was just a long drought. But they're College World Series is a dream for Georgia, for their program, because they just have not been in the talks. But, Ole Miss won one. Mississippi State won the year before that. Mm-hmm. Every SEC team's been having their year. Yep. Vanderbilt won, I think, twice. Florida won in 17. Mm-hmm. I mean, oh, my God, the competition in the SEC is just unreal. And I'm not knocking Clemson because I think that they're the dark horse, and the only problem is that, all these SEC teams are going to be knocking each other off and they're tested all year long. But how is it going to run you ragged? I mean, is Clemson going to be fresh at the end? Yeah, it's tough. And Coach Hale in the morning time, he talks about SC baseball, and he's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts. That's for sure. I mean, what's been interesting to me this year is I've seen more midweek losses by the top teams this year. And I understand it, because they're throwing, 4 or 5 out there. And a lot of times, I'm not talking about the Florida State game. I'm thinking more like, like you said, if LSU's playing Southern's probably throwing their ace and LSU's throwing their 4 or 5 guy. Yeah. So you do have some of that. But, like, Florida went a month without winning a midweek game.
Cool.
And they're a very talented group. Florida State's about the only team out there, other than, Arkansas is beating everybody, but Florida State's about the only team out there that's really playing well midweek. In fact, Florida State, other than blowing a couple of leads at Clemson, might have 1 loss on the year right now if they hadn't done that.
Yeah, they got swept by Clemson.
Right, but they were leading.
16 innings of it.
Exactly. That was the thing. I mean, they blew those games late. I mean, it's impressive what they're doing this year. And I don't count Wake out yet. I mean, they're not the team they were a year ago, but, Wake, LSU, Florida, those are the teams that have enough talent to me that as the season goes on, they'll kind of get it right and make that turn. That's why Florida particularly, they're ranked way higher than they should be. It doesn't matter till the end of the year, but it's because everybody knows that talent's there, and it just hasn't shown yet. Now, I think they should be ranked lower, but...
How's the switch pitcher, Angelo Sante, going?
It's an interesting story. I mean, last year he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. It didn't matter how fast he threw it. Now, this year he's showing a lot more control. He's faster from the right than the left, but he's 90-plus on both sides.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. In fact, we brought it up with the high school coaches. I was curious if the pitch count rules apply if you switch arms. And, who are we talking to? It might have been Hudson.
Yeah.
And he said they actually have anticipated that, and it does still apply.
That's such a good point. And it shouldn't count, though, right? You got your left arm, you got your right arm.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, you would think so.
Pitch them both dead, baby. Let's go.
It's unbelievable, really, to think of. I mean, I understand people who are ambidextrous, but 90-plus from both sides, that's pretty impressive.
And I just found out the other day that young man pitched in the Little League World Series both-handed as well.
I didn't know that.
Saw a video of him doing that. Like, could you imagine in Little League and you walk up to the plate and all of a sudden he just takes his glove off and puts it on the other hand? Like, what in the world do we got going on?
Yeah, your manager can't figure out who to pinch hit. Yeah. And the guy just changes sides.
You got that chess match and it's just like, oh, nope, don't even step into the box. He switched gloves on him. We'll put the righty back in there, but we are out of time for this hour. If you want to stay around for another segment, what time's Pharaoh going to be here?
Here at 5:20.
All right, if you want to stick around for another segment, we'll make that happen, and we will kick off hour number 2 with whatever in the world we're going to find out here in the break. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida, where the Afternoon Underdogs will be right back.
Atlanta Braves baseball is back.
Struck out another one. Max Fried is perfect. Swing and a drive. That's hammered deep right.
We're your exclusive radio home for the Atlanta Braves.
First pitch of the game nails Ronald Acuna Jr. And now the Braves are coming out of their dugout looking at a rain.
Hear every exciting home run, every strikeout, and every thrilling victory on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Friday's weather forecast. Sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 72 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, a light breeze and a temperature of 52. About the same tomorrow, around 73 with sunshine and a wind at 7 miles per hour coming out of the north-northwest. Very warm with a high around 71 and partly sunny Sunday. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Visit the newly remodeled Mid-South Lumber Hardware and Feed Store in Youngstown. They have a full line of plumbing, electrical, hardware, and tools for your DIY home projects, as well as lumber and animal feed. Now offering not only baby chicks and a full line of poultry supplies, but also bunnies and parakeets. They also carry a wide selection of Duplin wines and gourmet products so you don't have to drive to the beach. Come see us at Mid-South Lumber on Highway 231 in Youngstown.
PLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn Haven. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose, hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? If competitive pricing and a quick turnaround are what matter to your business, come see us at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, or you can give us a call at 850-326-3000. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, the best place in town to take a leak.
Don't call it a podcast.
Frequency modulation is a big step forward in radio.
Broadcasting live from the world's most beautiful beaches. The Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
It is my turn, and then Sunday's the final.
Hey, that's a live intro right there. What do you got, Bo?
I'm going to say that, when we open the mics, y'all don't need to be talking to that, right?
Well, you don't have to open the mics.
Glad nobody pulled a Brenneman.
Hey, you're riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. Thank you guys for joining us along with us. I kind of like the ambience, behind the scenes. You come in and just hear what it is that we're talking about.
It's dangerous.
It is dangerous. It is slightly dangerous, but as long as the SEC ain't listening, then I think we would be all right. So what is it that we want to talk about? What it is, what it ain't. What do we want to talk about here in this segment? I've got a couple of things. How about the Shohei Ohtani ordeal? I think that's something that's kind of right in your wheelhouse as well, Brian, with memorabilia, all of that good stuff. I don't think that there's there's no way I'm giving that ball back. There's no way. I'm going straight home with that ball and getting on eBay. I'm sorry, but when a man is making $700 million, I know that you're like, oh, he should. No, not for me. Let me get a piece of your $700 million. I'm going to go put it up on eBay because here's the other thing. So they said that the girl got a meeting. Like they rush her and they take her to wherever and have the conversation on what the flip could be, what the trade could be for. They give her 2 signed hats, a signed bat, and a ball, and they say Shohei, via his new interpreter, says that he met with the girl. Now, someone from the LA Times who is fluent in Japanese said that he did say that, but it was in a way of making it sound like he met with her. He never actually met with her. The girl never got to actually meet Shohei, so then you're kind of getting ripped off in that part of the deal as well. But go ahead and give us your spill on this, Brian, and then Jeff, and then Kyle.
We've talked about this before. I can't even remember maybe it was about Judge.
I think it was Judge's home run ball.
And look, I'm going to tell you, I know people don't believe me because I'm in the business of memorabilia and stuff, but me personally, I would be happy to give the ball back. I would like to meet him. I really wouldn't ask for more than that. I would expect a little more than that because you see it. But it really, if I decided to give the ball back, it really wouldn't be to hold them up for tickets or this or the other. I would think that would be nice. I might fire off a tweet afterwards if they didn't, but all I would want to do is...
Well, you're on Twitter?
Well, no, I would jump on it.
You would make a Twitter.
That's why everybody joins Twitter. Who are we kidding?
You're right. Right on.
But no, that's what honest to God, if I caught that ball, I would say, look, I'm happy to give this ball back. It means a lot, but I would like to just meet Shohei and take a picture. That'd have been fine with me. It really would have. But I would fully expect them to throw a few things my way, but no, I'm not going to throw it up on eBay. First of all, you don't put it on eBay. You go to the auction houses with a smaller buyers.
I would have talked to smarter people before I did, but I got the ball authenticated and walked on it out of there.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I will say differently about one thing is that the guy didn't know English. So meeting him, is it really that thrilling?
Yeah, there we go.
That's why you get the picture.
And he's got two interpreters, so it's not like it's going to be super fun.
And so you give me 2 hats, baseball bat, and one other thing. I can't remember what the third thing is. But is that baseball bat, is it autographed?
It is signed.
Oh, it is signed. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay, that is pretty cool. But you didn't get to meet him? I mean...
Well, first of all, you cannot convince me, no matter how hard you try, that Shohei Ohtani doesn't speak a lot better English than he lets on.
I'm right there on that side of the fence as well.
Yeah.
No, he
I worked with a Latino lady, and she acted like she did not know any English, but when her paycheck was wrong...
There you go. There you go.
She knew English real quick.
Yeah. That's a good point. Kyle, where are you at on this situation?
I mean, so I guess I didn't hear about this, to be honest. I mean, I kind of been in full WrestleMania mode for the last 48 hours. So... Thank you. I like it. So if I'm not, so what? He hit his first home run as a Dodger.
First home run as a Dodger. And then a lady named Amber, I'm blanking on her last name. She got the home run ball. They separated her from her husband, and they made a deal with her. She said she just wanted to meet Shohei. That was essentially what she wanted, but they ended up giving her two signed hats, a signed bat, and a signed ball, and did not get to meet Shohei. But the Dodgers put it out there press-wise, and Shohei said that he met her. Does that also, all right, if Shohei's saying that he met the lady and didn't meet the lady, what are we dealing with here with this whole Ipe situation? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously you can't use that, but as a fan, I'm like, well, if you're lying about something as simple as that,
no doubt,
why would you not lie about something that's going on that is a pretty big deal and affects your baseball career tremendously?
So we're asking what I would do if I had caught the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I 100% would have been in the same boat as her. I mean, I would like to see him sign these things. Or I don't necessarily need the autograph. Just a picture with Shohei Ohtani would go so far for me. And I'd like to ask him, you got the over-under on Caitlin Clark tonight.
There you go. Do you have the over-unders? 33.5 points.
Man. I'm all in on Iowa right now until they face South Carolina, but I'm all in.
So I said 37 or 38. What are you thinking?
I think she's going to drop a 40 piece tonight.
Oh, 40?
I really do, because I think I think the world's going to be watching. I think what they say 12 million people watched the LSU game.
16 million.
Okay. So, now, I heard this discussion on radio before.
All right.
About, the women's basketball is being, it's bigger than men's basketball this year, which is bull. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I was beginning to think that before this game tonight, there's only 2 games people are interested in. And it's the rematch between LSU and Iowa. And it's the Iowa-South Carolina showdown, which I pretty much thought that, Iowa's going to be there, right? But now that I think UConn is kind of proven themselves, this is the 3rd biggest game of the year, this game tonight, the Iowa-UConn, because UConn has the potential and, the Hall of Fame coach. So I will give a little bit of credit to tonight's game, but to be honest with you, I know certain people were watching USC-UConn the other night, and I was uninterested, and the game ended at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it was
Central time. In Central time. That's midnight on the East Coast.
Yeah, USC-UConn?
USC-UConn.
Yeah, I actually watched more of that game than I did of the Iowa-LSU game.
Why?
It was on.
No, I mean, honestly, UConn, they've got the history. I was interested to see how Juju Watkins would do on the big stage.
Okay.
And she's talented. She's a freshman. But she's talented. But I'll tell you what they did, because it's funny to me. We're about to go into the wacky world of professional wrestling here where things are scripted. Did you notice how quickly this week they got this whole story of Paige and Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin always wanted to go to UConn. They're selling this game, and they're doing a good job of it because I'm more interested in it than I was. Now, I was very aware of Paige Beckers coming out of high school.
Yeah.
I actually was. I did not know anything about Caitlin Clark. So, I'm sure she wanted to play for UConn. Every young girl probably wants to play for UConn. But Gino actually made perfect sense. He was like, I'm not going to go tell Paige Beckers, oh, by the way, you're the number 1 recruit in the country. We got you. And we're recruiting this other girl who's right behind you to play your same position. No, he didn't do that. He was bought in. But they've done a good job of selling this matchup by getting that story out just perfectly timed into the media.
So would you agree it's the 3rd biggest game of the year tonight?
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody is looking ahead to the potential South Carolina-Iowa showdown, no doubt. But the biggest game of the year was Iowa-LSU. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
That was the game everybody wanted to see. It's a shame it wasn't in the Final Four at least, but that was the game everybody wanted to see.
I think if Iowa's going to lose, I hope it's tonight. I would like to see the UConn story. I'd like to see Paige kind of get some redemption. She's had such a hard time since she's been at UConn,
That's
man.
right.
It would be such a nice job for her to finish her story, right?
There you go.
We're about to get into the wonderful world.
Look, I went to Mississippi State before we ever won our first national championship, which was baseball. We went back-to-back to the championship game in women's basketball. We beat UConn, ended their 100 and some odd game winning streak, lost in the championship game to South Carolina. The next year, lost in that buzzer shot to Notre Dame. So going back-to-back, losing in the championship game is not something I wish on anybody. And you're right. That would just be rough if Iowa did that again.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know who's beating South Carolina this year.
Themselves.
How they're good.
Tennessee, almost. Tennessee, almost.
I mean, how did Iowa knock South Carolina off in the Final Four last year?
Yeah. That's what it's
going to... A little different team. They didn't have full Wiley last year.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
No, they're a lock. I mean, is anybody going to say that South Carolina isn't,
They've got to be the heavy favorite.
Heavy. I mean, 11.5 point
11
favorite
and a half tonight. I think Iowa was like 8.5 over UConn.
Yeah, and that's down.
Yeah.
That's down. It was higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think that game's going to be closer.
And that's the thing to consider. Will Iowa and UConn beat each other up? I mean, theoretically, South Carolina is going to have a bit of an easier march, we think.
Unless North Carolina State brings that tempo tonight.
That's right.
Then that could,
And any chance you end up with NC State UConn national titles in both?
That would be interesting.
Not happening.
That would be interesting.
Not happening. Men's, I could see it. No. North Carolina State is not going to the final in the women's. I'll put money on it. I wish it was. I know the payoff is not very good on just straight up with no spread or whatever.
How many points are we getting
I don't
here?
know. The money line might be pretty good.
South
on
Carolina's
NC State.
getting 11
and a half.
11 and a half.
That money line would probably be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would take that right now.
Yep.
I've never met you, Jeff. I've never met you.
So
I know you're happy. I know we're friends.
South Carolina's won every game in this tournament by double digits. Double digits every game in the tournament so far. South Carolina.
Yeah, that's pretty rare too. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we got about 4 minutes until the race to Talladega. We will announce your name. I got to figure out who in the world it is we're going to be announcing here.
Completely random. Now, last Wednesday, I was picked as the name. And I called into this show, and somebody, it was the record for the week last week. Was 15 seconds. And I was like, I'm gonna beat that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I didn't know it. I wasn't listening to the radio. I was listening to either my phone or a laptop.
Delayed.
And it was delayed by like 3 seconds, we'll say, okay?
Yeah, we'll say.
I call in. I call in, and I'm 8 seconds, and I'm like, rodeo is what I said. 8 seconds, And I said, I got it. And then, that was, I think, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then, I think it was Thursday, somebody got 6 or no, it was Friday. Friday, somebody got 6 seconds and beat me out for last week. And it was like, oh, man.
I think the top time last week ended up being 3 seconds. So on the
was
inside.
It? Yeah. So it must have been the last one on Friday.
See, your problem is you took right side tires. You need to just do a splash and dash.
So there is a delay if you're listening on your laptop or your cell phone. You need to listen to the radio. It's crazy.
There you go. What do you guys think? All right, Bronny hitting the draft is entering the draft, but also will remain in the transfer portal. Will he get drafted? The NBA draft's only 2 rounds. He was averaging, 5.3? Maybe that's me giving him some.
Elite.
Yeah. I mean, does he do it because it is LeBron in his ear saying, look, I'm really kind of running out of time here. I can pull some strings to at least get us to play together. Is that the best thing, though, for Bronny to do in this situation? Your thoughts, Kyle?
I mean, I honestly think that he should go to the NBA. If there's going to be any chance of him crossing paths with his dad, I believe LeBron can leave the Lakers after this year. Somebody's drafted him just for the ticket sales. Like, wherever LeBron goes, they're going to draft Bronny. Why wouldn't you at this point? Who cares? Like, it's a wasted draft pick, but let's be honest, man. Everything after, like, the top 10 picks in the NBA draft is kind of all, like, gambling anyway. So why not take the guaranteed sellout on your season tickets with Braun and Bronny playing together for even just 1 year?
I'm going to disagree with just one very small part of that because I think you nailed the rest of it. I don't think he gets drafted, but he'll sign as a free agent.
Okay, fair enough.
That's it. But I agree, and a lot of people aren't talking about this. It was a very good point by you that he needs to just go now.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the longer he plays in college, I think his chances of going to the NBA are worse.
No, for sure.
He's not a bad player.
Right.
He's not. But he's not a great player. Go do it now because the hype will be higher to get you in with your dad, and let's go play. Somebody will take a chance on him and sign it.
Somebody would have drafted Marcus Jordan if Mike was still in the league. And that's the only reason I think he does get drafted. I think it just becomes more of a stress factor at that point. Like, hey, if we draft Bronny, LeBron will come here.
I think if we still had 5 rounds, he would have. I understand most NBA picks outside the top 15 are useless. I do get that, but there are some that aren't, and depending on where LeBron ends up and what, I think we're all in agreement. Wherever LeBron ends up, that's where he's going to end up being. But I could see a scenario where he just signs as a free agent. As for entering the draft, it's a no-brainer nowadays. There's no point in not doing it. You might as well see. Because, I mean, really, as long as you don't sign fully with an agent, you're good to go. So
I have a statement and a question. Okay.
All right.
First one is, the statement is that, well, I think the second round draft picks, I think you underestimate the value of them. They're pretty valuable. I mean, are they more valuable than a 4th round pick or a 3rd round pick in football? I think that they're more valuable. But anyway, here's my question. So Bronny goes into the draft. Nobody picks him first 2 rounds. Does he sign a free agent contract? I mean, you can do that, I guess.
Yeah.
And then your college eligibility's gone, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you play once you sign a contract, or even if you were to get drafted, I think that eliminates your college eligibility at that point. I think that would be the most optimum way for it to fall, is for him to not get drafted, and then that way he can sign for sure wherever LeBron is.
Here's
at
the deal.
Point.
Do the deal. Let him play a couple of games, sell all the merch, get all the hype, get all the publicity, and then after about half the season, designate him.
Yeah.
And just let him go play G League from there. And because it's going to be better for him developmentally anyway than starting with a new college. So
go ahead and hit it. It is now time for the race to Talladega, and our caller for today is going to be Rick Ty. Rick Ty, you are now on the clock. 1, 2, 3. You have been eliminated, Rick Ty. But
no yeet.
No yeet.
No yeet. The Rock last night calling out old Jalen Hurts too, as well, right? When he was late for the Philadelphia. I saw that on Twitter. So
the talk today is The Rock calling out Joe Biden.
Oh, well, I guess we'll say that.
Look, that made headline news today.
Politics coming at 5:20, folks. Stay tuned.
Yes,
Good
sir.
Lord.
Oh man, I hope Randy is listening so we can hear about that in a little bit. So the Yankees had their home opener today. Do you know what the final of that score was?
They got beat 1-0.
1-0.
Yeah.
First time that they've been shut out at home in their home opener since 1967.
I was on the 162-0 bandwagon, and now it's just going to be 6 and 156. It's all over. Just pack it in.
There you go. You were excited, and
I get off that bandwagon quick, baby.
So who's the Reds fan?
He's a Reds fan.
Oh, you're the one.
He's a Reds fan.
I called in. I guess it was last week, and you said, "Oh, who's your picks?" And I said, "Yeah, Reds over the Rangers." You know?
And pace for 160-2.
Yeah, I mean they're both 4-2 right now. Both the Rangers and the Reds. And they both did 2-1 over 2 different teams, and one was on the road and one was at home. So I don't want to say they're in the mix, but the Pirates are young.
I like the Pirates. The Reds have some very big holes that they're going to have to figure out really quick. Just like I said to AG, man, it's a good ball team. It's a very good baseball team. They are one player breaking out from like 95 to 100 wins.
I agree.
They are one more injury from being a 70 to 75 win ball club. So they're kind of sitting right there on that mark right now. And Jeimer Candelario had an injury scare on that third game in Philly where they shouldn't have been playing that game. I mean, the Reds got the win. You can't play the game in the pouring down rain, man.
Right.
I mean, once it be like player safety becomes an issue, then you shouldn't even be out there. But I mean, the Reds got the win, so it is what it is. I'm sure Philly fans are kind of salty about that game being played, but it was in Philly. Yep. But Candelario goes down, and you have to move Santiago Espinal, who has anybody heard of him? Like the dude's mid. The dude's the dude's a 26th man, and now you're talking about this guy's going to be your starting third baseman moving forward, probably for the rest of the season, or until Candelario does get himself back. And that's a recipe for disaster for Reds fans.
But what's crazy is look at what all happened to the Reds before the season started. I mean, Friedel was hurt. Marte's suspended for 80 games or whatever he's going for. I mean, you had a run of things before the season too.
Yeah, it was tough. And Noelvi Marte, the dude's he was my pick for NL Rookie of the Year before the suspension. He's not even postseason eligible now.
Right.
So even when he does come back, the Reds have to figure something out. Like, hey, we want to get this guy involved, help him, so that he can get us to the playoffs. But what's the price on that? Because if you learn to win with him, you're good. It's going to be really hard to win without him.
The two teams I was the most interested to see how they came out this year were the Tigers and the Royals. They're just intriguing teams to me.
Tigers, man.
And the Tigers have gotten off to a fast start, which is great for them. I mean, what I was wondering in my mind, not so much winning the World Series, but who's going to be the Rangers this year? Gets off to that hot start, the kind of young upstart team like that. And, the Tigers and the Royals both intrigue me. I don't think either of them are deep enough to make the run, but I do think they're young enough and exciting enough, to get in the mix. And we'll see, who holds up. But
few of the Central teams, Tigers and the Royals, as you just mentioned, but also the Pirates right there in that kind of same
very much
mix.
so.
Just took their first loss last night, right?
Well, and look at what they've got in their system. Their system is loaded
Skeens.
right now. Skeens will be up. Skeens will be up before the end of the year.
By the break, I think, at this point.
There's a lot of talent in baseball right now that's in the triple A's and double A's that are working their way up. Like we talk all the time about Jackson Holiday, but as we talked a little bit about Herstad, who's in the Orioles organization
Orioles
as well.
Are just having an embarrassment of riches.
Their triple A team put up like 26 runs
against the Charlotte Knights. Yeah, the Norfolk Tides. Boy, you got to roll with the Tide. You got to roll with the Tide. Yeah.
But you look, we talked about the Reds. Their system's loaded.
Yeah.
Guys like Cam Collier and Rodriguez, they've got a lot of good guys in their system. The Pirates are loaded. Tamar Johnson's a star. It's something else. About the only team that has nothing in the system, the Angels.
Braves don't have
the Braves promote them all.
Yeah,
bless them.
But I think a lot of people are starting to follow that model. That's why we're seeing so much good young talent in the league.
Yeah,
I think what the Braves did and the expansion of the college game is helping get guys through the minors into the bigs quicker.
Yeah.
Because I think they're ready. I think big-time college baseball prepares you for the major leagues, I think, better than the minors does.
Ooh.
I really do.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a good thing for these guys, and NIL will help with that because they'll be able to stay in a much better nurturing environment with all of the resources available to you at the collegiate level than what you would have, with no offense, the Rocket City Trash Pandas. You're going to have more resources available. So,
yeah, we will. I guess actually we won't be talking much about that moving forward because I'm going to unleash it. We're going to talk WrestleMania for the rest of the show. Put your fingers up, point at the sky. I don't even know what that one is for, but we'll talk about it more whenever we get back. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the Final Four. The madness continues with the NC State Wolfpack versus the Boilermakers of Purdue. Then the UConn Huskies versus the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Maybe the biggest shot of his life.
Coverage starts Saturday at 2 on your home for the NCAA College Basketball Tournament on the Gulf Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday evening. As we head into tonight, clear skies and a low of 52 with a light breeze out of the north around 7 miles per hour. For tomorrow morning, sunshine and a temp near 65. In the afternoon and evening, a wind 8 to 12 miles per hour, mostly sunny and a high around 73. For Sunday, some sun and a high of 71. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Hey Bay County, it's Dean Jackson with Old Glory Washing Solutions and the one and only BBIA. It's that time of year again. The Great American Home and Recreation Expo is back this Friday and Saturday at the Bay County Fairgrounds. Over 70 vendors, ranging from home improvement and landscaping to boats and ATVs. This free event is for the whole family, with food, live music, and even kids workshops. Don't miss it. The Great American Home and Recreation Expo this Friday and Saturday, April 5th and 6th from 9 to 5 at the Bay County Fairgrounds. We'll see you there.
When the sun sets on the Emerald Coast, the freaks come out and play.
Hi, I'm a recovering crackhead.
Hand me that shotgun.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Get on your knees!
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. The boys are back in town. We've got Kyle Wright. We've got Pharaoh. We've got Coach Brian Haddad. I am David Hayes, and we are the Afternoon Underdogs. And, man, we've got WrestleMania coming up this weekend. We're going to be talking about storylines, seeing if those are going to be getting finished, what's been going on in the world of wrestling, and a whole bunch more. So what is the topic of discussion that we want to lead with? You've got a smirk on your face, so I'm going to let you ride, Kyle.
Dude, what? I don't even know where to begin with this WrestleMania. I mean, you could start with the obvious, right? Like, what a main event, both nights. Yeah. Roman's going to break Hogan's record on night one or he's going to tie Hogan's record of the most WrestleMania main events on night one, and he's going to break Hogan's record on night two.
That makes it easy for him to lose now.
Yeah, it does, doesn't
now
it?
we don't have to sit here and go, he's got to pass Hogan's record. Now we can just get that out of the way, and get on with it.
We'll ignore the title reign record. We'll just say, hey, that's the record we were talking about the whole time.
Yeah, and he's no Hulk Hogan, by the way, but I figured I'd throw that in.
What you mean?
Roman Reigns is no Hulk Hogan.
Well, I he's not.
What do you mean, what do I mean?
I get it, he's not racist, but where are we going? Where else are we
now, wait a minute. Are we going to keep this rated PG, or are we going straight to R?
No.
What is going on, brother? What is going on here?
No, Jimmy, we are not working blue today.
I didn't think we were. I don't even think we're going to work green, come to think of it. But, I mean, my God. Yeah, well, come on. He's no Hulk Hogan. Oh, Kyle, how are you, buddy?
Nice to meet you.
I'm the Pharaoh. Pleased to meet you.
Kyle, right. Attorney at law.
Look, we all know what Hulk Hogan was to this business. Yep. Roman Reigns has been great over the last several years, and that's great. But Hulk Hogan is Babe Ruth.
Of course.
Whether you like it or not.
None of
He's
this
Babe
happens
Ruth.
without
So would Roman Reigns be Shohei Ohtani?
No.
Who would Roman Reigns be?
By the way, that comparison makes me sick. Ohtani is no Babe Ruth. He's not even Ruth.
All right, not yet.
No,
by the time it's said and done, man.
94 and 46 with a 2.28 lifetime ERA as a pitcher, plus 714 home runs.
So normally, here's the thing.
Ohtani is not Babe Ruth.
Right, I know, but how many of those games did you watch? None.
Babe Ruth, none of them.
None of them, right. And how many of those home runs do we know if they, was the ball bouncing over the wall? That's kind of one of my things. And normally I'm always on the side of history. Okay. But the more that I've kind of dove into this is honestly, I'm not as big of a fan of Babe Ruth as what I was when I was growing up.
Interesting.
The more that I've kind of read about it, I'm more of a Hank Aaron type of a guy. So, and I'll use that argument a lot with the LeBron James and Michael Jordan arguments. And it's man, it's two different eras.
Yeah,
but I think if we take guys and we put them back in Babe Ruth's era from today's game, they're running all over.
Yeah, they're crying about how hot the wool jerseys are, and they don't have cell phones, and they have to travel by train. And by the way, if you go to the Hall of Fame and you take a look at Babe Ruth's bat, it's a tree stump.
Okay, all right.
The guy was pretty strong.
That's
a pretty strong feller.
That's a fair argument.
Yeah,
that is a very fair argument.
And if you brushed him back with a pitch, he's not getting all running to the the mound.
Yeah.
You know, they were kind of men back then.
Yeah.
Is it okay to say? Is that
You're-
PG?
hey.
Did I do okay?
No.
We are a gender
You
recognized.
insulted Utah last night. What are you talking about?
I would love to see Shohei Ohtani roll up to the dish with a cigarette in his mouth.
That was,
Hey,
How cool
me
would
too.
that
He would just be
be?
so much cooler to me. I wouldn't even care that he bets anymore.
They always used to get mad at me at softball when I would do that. But like, you can't do that here. I'm like, I'm trying to emulate one of the greatest
That's
of all
right.
times.
That's
And they
Try
would
going to the plate with this hair. Hey, Bon Jovi. 25 years I listened to that. Hey, Bon Jovi.
We're not here without Babe. We're
Hey,
not here without Hogan.
We're not. That's
You know,
where this
there
all
you go.
started.
There you go.
Let me bring this back to wrestling.
Yeah, please.
Just for a moment. 'Cause I could go down this Babe Ruth road for an hour or two. I think the interesting thing to me is the WWF originally, WWF into the WWF into the WWE, for a long time was based on long face champion runs,
Yes.
which was unique.
Yes.
Because, you know, so many of the NWA and all those were heel long runs. And to me, that made more sense. But Roman Reigns approaching all of these records, the guys that he's beating were all long face runs. You just don't see that.
No.
And even nowadays. So I think that's just very different, very impressive in what he's done, because it's such a stark contrast to what the history of that organization was.
Yeah, I think it's been great to have a champion for a long time. Belts have become watered down. They don't mean as much, but now they're starting to mean something again.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns with this long reign. Gunther breaking the all-time Intercontinental title. Oh, did I say Intercontinental title?
Oh, there
What do we got right there?
Yeet.
What do we got?
real deal.
No, yeet. No, we're not yeeting. No, we're not yeeting. What is going on here? Oy.
That thing does look good though.
It does.
it really
Thank
does.
you. She's pretty. It's retired, by the way. They got the black strap back. This was my favorite title, ever. I've only let 2 people sign this one: The Miz and Kofi Kingston.
You got to find Morocco and Valentine. That's
right.
That's what
true.
we need to do.
That's true. That's true.
Get some old school SIGs on that.
Absolutely.
There you go.
So look, let's take this first segment. Let's go through night one. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's look at what it is.
I'm so in.
I think what is it? We expect the Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee versus Santos and Dirty Dom to start more than likely, or has that changed?
So I think they released the full order, and I sent it to Dave earlier.
Okay, let's look at that.
I believe Rhea and Becky are opening
Nice.
WrestleMania, and it's crazy because Motionless in White plays Rhea Ripley's song, and I think they have confirmed that they will be playing her out this year.
Oh,
cool.
And so that's kind of really cool, man. And that's just
Right out of the
if
gate.
that's not a Triple H flex,
Right.
then I don't know what is.
Well, you always want to get the crowd hot right out of the gate, and
That'll do it.
That'll certainly do it.
Yeah.
And what's the old line in wrestling? If you're not going on last, go on first.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
I guess that makes sense.
That'd
Because
be great.
we all know they're not going to headline. I mean, whether they should or not doesn't matter. When you've got The Rock involved and Seth and
No,
Cody and
this
Roman,
isn't-
that's a headline.
That's not up for debate.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the biggest main event of all time.
All right, well, let's start with that one because that's the one it's one of the matches I'm the most interested in. Rhea and Charlotte stole the show last year. It was my favorite match of the whole 2 days. It really was. And I mentioned this to you guys last night, Jimmy. I'm a little bit worried. I've built this up too much in my head. I know Becky's great. She really is. They're going to bring it. She doesn't do this match for me the way Charlotte does. Charlotte is a physical equal to Rhea in a way that Becky just isn't.
Right.
Now you can tell a different story, but I think we have to agree that Rhea goes over, but do they shock us right out of the gate?
They better not. You're ruining everything you've built up with Rhea. I don't think. You know what's weird? Oddly enough, in real life, I bet you Becky give her a fight. Becky is from the tough part of across the pond. Becky is tough, legitimately tough. But I mean, I think it ruins Rhea if you do that.
I think we've thrown believability out the window for a long time now, and I use that very loosely.
No,
'cause,
I understand.
Cody and Seth standing on the other side of the ring from The Rock tomorrow night. There's no belief. Like The Rock should be able to rip them both in half, easily. Gunther and Sammy, same story, right? So believability goes out the window. I am excited to see Becky shine. just because it's been so long since she's been given that opportunity to do so. And I think people have forgotten just how good Becky Lynch really is in the ring. And I, discredit a lot of that to Vince McMahon, the way he treated the women's division for a long time. And
igniting the women's revolution and giving them their first pay-per-view when no other company would even think about it? You leave Vince alone. Leave Vince alone.
You're right. He never treated women with any
Never. Sit still. Anyway.
I'm with you guys, though. You can't take the Rhea hype away right now. I think it's got to be more of a Jade Cargill situation, somebody that I do agree can match her physically, because it's not just about size at that point. It's about strength and everything, and you built Rhea to be a monster. So,
well, let's pivot out of that into another match on the first night. Belair, Cargill, Naomi, and against Damage Control. Golly, I mean, you would think Bianca and Jade and Naomi would go over here, but, Damage Control doesn't need the win. But I don't know. I sense them, they're jumping the gun. They need to delay this. The money match here is Jade and Bianca. We all know they're setting it up. I can see some cracks forming in this match that starts telling that story. That's why I think Damage Control might steal one here.
I'm kind of right there with you. I think that's just because that's not what anybody wants. I think this will be a cool-off match. You know how you're going to get those at WrestleMania.
Yep.
I'm with you on that. I think so. I don't necessarily know. I think the riff will start. I don't think the match will start getting teased until probably closer to SummerSlam. You're not going to put that at a Backlash or anything like that.
Yeah, I think Damage Control needs to get the win, quite honestly. What do they do if they lose? What do you do with them from there? We're trying to enforce and enhance them and always say, look at how powerful they are. Right. If they run the show, I don't think they should be losing.
Right.
But, we'll see if we get a curveball.
I think both days have a match that I think could have been built better. And for me on day one, it's Jay versus Jimmy.
Man.
I'm not a Jay guy. I know. Yeet.
No yeet.
I'm not. But I understand it.
I'm yeeting all over myself over here.
I see that. You need a towel?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Clean yourself off with all that yeet?
I understand it. I don't know. I can't say I'm invested in this story. And look, The Rock and everything with that has sucked all the air out of the room. I get that, and it does. And I think Mike is the one who brought it up. It's the biggest focus on the main event probably since Andre Hogan.
Right.
I mean, that was everything in 3. And there were great matches in 3.
Right.
So this could be something. They're both athletic. They're both fun to watch. I'm more a Jimmy guy than a Jay guy, but I just don't know. This match doesn't interest me as much as I think it should.
I really think they missed a golden opportunity to hype this up a little more, and that was like The Rock's run-in with Jay this past Monday.
Yeah.
I thought they had a really good opportunity for The Rock to maybe pull Jay into the ring as well. Like, you turn on our family, blah, blah, blah. Let Jimmy get in there with the lashes as well. You really could have done a much better job. I don't disagree with that. I mean, I'm excited for the match.
Right.
They're brothers. They're going to beat the hell out of each other. They have their whole lives. It's going to be fun. But, yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I can't disagree. But I think Jimmy needs it more. Jay is just over the top right now, and Jimmy needs a little bit of that rub.
It's interesting that he says that, because after last night I started thinking about it. What is the only other match that you can really think about with the brothers? It was Owen and Brett. Who won that match?
Owen.
Did you think he would have beforehand?
No, but
no.
It was exactly the right story.
Needed it.
Well,
so,
and that's a good point, because look, they're smashing Jay over. We know, and they're gonna put a belt on him.
Oh, people just like going like this.
Well, they do, but hey,
what are you talking about?
That sells tickets, baby.
It sure
They're
does.
gonna put a belt on Jay this year.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt. The problem is, if Jay goes over Jimmy here, what do you do with Jimmy?
That's the big issue.
So I would like to see Jimmy come through just so they have something to go with
a heat and tag team.
Right, but if Jay's headed for a world title shot or an intercontinental title shot, is it really in his best interest to be losing here?
Yeah, see, that's...
Don't you love it? But that's what makes this great.
Yeah.
We're really not totally sure.
Gunther and Sami Zayn, the odd couple of WrestleMania, to be honest. This match just kind of materialized out of nowhere. They did the little goofy Rocky III thing that started out really cringe, and then I kind of was laughing by the end. They did it about as well as you could. I've said for a while, I'm worried they're going to do something with Priest here to try and get the belt off Gunther. It would be a disaster. But outside of that, there's no way we see Sami Zayn taking this from Gunther, do we?
It's really hard for me to think that Gunther's going to lose this. I say this soon, but tomorrow will be 666 days.
Oh, yeah.
I also don't think they want to say that out loud, like, hey, they broke his record, 666-day title reign.
Yeah, fair enough.
Kind of cool.
Vince would and never would.
As an Iron Maiden fan, I don't mind that. That's okay. 666. Sorry.
Yeah,
Anyway.
this match, man, I have. I would say just about literally zero hype for it. I know it'll be good. They're two of the best in the business right now. I do think Sammy is going to end up going over, sadly, which I think would be bad for Gunther.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless it doesn't make sense. I was going to say unless there's some Gable involvement somewhere, somehow, but I just don't think there's enough time.
Yeah.
Gunther retains and Gable screws Sammy.
Interesting.
There it is. Okay.
That could be interesting.
Yep.
There's the involvement.
Gunther should not be losing the title.
I think they missed the boat. I think Gable and Gunther could have been a great. They built that up beautifully this year. They could have finished it here, and it wouldn't have taken any shine off Gunther. It wouldn't, because it was such a. We're talking about fake stuff. It was such a heart-wrenching story. It really was.
What did you just call it?
Yeah, well, okay.
Don't use that word.
Predetermined.
Okay, that's better. I feel better now.
You got me a little hot, too.
Exactly.
You don't want him coming over the table. Look at the size of this
I'll break
guy.
the table on the way there. But
Probably will.
Just remember, I don't have to outrun you two. I just got to outrun David.
Boy.
Which isn't going to happen either.
That's not happening.
Them lungs are in bad shape.
Pretty quick.
You get to the door, he's done.
All right, so the last match, the Ray match, whatever, it's what it is.
Yeah.
The last match, the headliner on night one, the tag match, Seth and Cody versus Rock and Roman. There's an obvious way this goes, but I'm not so sure obvious is going to be this WrestleMania.
This needs to be the night where if anybody's going to debut in the bloodline, like the Tama Tonga signing that they made, if they are going to add somebody to the bloodline, it needs to happen night one, and it needs to happen in this match. In order for night two to be as fun and as interesting as night one is, Rock and Roman have to win.
Yeah.
Now, here's the bad part about that. This is where the catch-22 comes in, because Seth's going to lose night two.
Yeah.
So Seth is going to lose back-to-back nights. Seth is going to take 2 losses. Seth's going to lose back-to-back matches because he opens night 2, Seth and Drew. And I don't, that's just so bad for, in my opinion, the most talented guy on the roster.
Do y'all think that it's a possibility that The Rock turns on Roman Reigns in this?
At this point, I don't think so.
Okay.
But
I think they're going to tease the heck out of it, and I don't think he will.
Cody needs to go into night 2 with every last odd stacked against him.
Yeet.
Okay?
I agree.
This is the completion of the story. This is the fruition of his patience and his hard work and his vow to fulfill his father's, unfulfilled championship aspirations. This is where it's supposed to happen. Rock and Roman will go over. They will go over, and Cody will have all odds stacked against him for night 2.
Can we talk about how damn good The Rock's been?
The Rock's been great.
We can do that, but first we're going to take a quick break. You guys are riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to talk about how great The Rock is when we return.
ESPN Northwest Florida is taking you on the ultimate road trip to see the Orlando Magic. Is this Connie Sisk?
Yes.
Congratulations, Connie. You won the Holland Hearts ESPN Northwest Florida Magic Express.
Oh, okay, cool.
Are you ready for a trip of a lifetime?
Yeah, well, at least my husband is anyway. I entered it for him.
You and your husband will watch the game from a presidential suite.
Oh, okay, cool.
Congratulations from ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday evening. As we head into tonight, clear skies and a low of 52 with a light breeze out of the north around 7 miles per hour. For tomorrow morning, sunshine and a temp near 65. In the afternoon and evening, a wind 8 to 12 miles per hour, mostly sunny and a high around 73. For Sunday, some sun and a high of 71. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
The road is
is yours, so let your spring adventures begin and discover the new Kia at Bill Berg Kia. Stop by today and check out our 2024 SUV family and take a test drive. See all the new features that elevate any adventure. Now offering 4.75% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2024 Kia Sorento EX. You'll get that rugged good look with luxury and the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Berg Kia, the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by anytime and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll give you the peace of mind that you can trust.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2024 Kia Sorento EX with $22.94 per month per 1,000 finance in 48 months. Quality is limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Berg Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 4/30/24.
From the pros to the future pros, we're your home team station for home team sports. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're back with the Afternoon Underdogs in the doghouse, tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida and riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. It is the first boss, and we'll see if he has anything to say about the final boss from somewhere in Florida. Boss, what's going on?
Hey, guys, I wanted to call you. I heard y'all saying that you think Seth is going to eat 2 L's. I'm here to correct you. Say he's going to eat 3 L's. He is going to be getting absolutely pummeled. Him and Cody both on night one. Rock and Roman Reigns are going to go over, and after that pummeling has happened, Damian Priest is going to cash in his money in the bank, and that will end up being the final match of the night on night one. So it'll be Damian Priest winning the World Championship going in, and then it's going to throw night two into complete chaos. Because I know that Drew wants to get a hold of Seth Rollins, but he also wants to get a hold of that title. And I think that whenever that happens, I don't foresee that maybe Seth will be in. Maybe they'll have a triple threat match then, because they've had their hand forced by the whole Money in the Bank contract match, because Drew's still got to get his match in for the world title. So, and I don't foresee Seth winning it back on night two if he were to be in a triple threat with Damian Priest.
Interesting.
So I had kind of thought about the possibility of kind of almost the same kind of thing, but where The Rock's been very adamant to Seth Rollins about, I'm going to make that title disappear, right? And so after the match, they continue to beat down, and he grabs the microphone and he's like, Seth, I told you I'm going to make your title disappear. So night two starts early, our main event tonight, because we saw that little backstage segment where Drew McIntyre was talking to Paul Heyman. He brings out McIntyre. They do the match right then and there. Bloodline stands tall. McIntyre also with him, new world champion. Then night two starts with maybe a rematch. But I like your idea too. I think if there's ever been a WrestleMania where some crazy stuff's going to happen, this is the one.
It should be the one. The flashback that comes from the cash in at the end of the night, now it being with Seth Rollins on the receiving end of that cash in versus being on the beneficiary end of it, I think that's a long-term storytelling deal. You don't get any better than that.
So, boss, is it safe to say that you do not sing the Rollins song when he comes out and you're watching at home?
No, I've got better things to do with my time. I need to go watch paint dry, or go watch the grass grow, or something of that nature. I agree with the final boss and say that, yeah, this guy is a walking clown emoji.
Fair enough.
I think another interesting way they could do it is exactly the way they did it with Seth. Where Drew and Seth are both down, and all of a sudden here comes Damian. You want to talk about hot shot in the night for night two? Mm-hmm. That could work too. I don't know.
No, I don't disagree with you at all. Punk will be on commentary. He's somebody who's synonymous with Money in the Bank cash-ins as well. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all having me on to be a part of y'all's show for a couple minutes. But, man, I'm really looking forward to WrestleMania this week. And, man, you guys are putting on a great show.
Thank you, boss.
Thank you, boss. You're welcome.
All right, bye.
All right, what else we got night two? Let's get into let's get through a couple of these quick here. Io Sky and Bayley. Everybody's going to be pulling for Bayley. This seems tailor-made, which is why it scares me. Does Bayley go over here?
I think so. It's been too long.
Yeah, I agree. Bailey should win.
And she needs her WrestleMania moment. She hasn't really
She has not had one.
that.
No,
That's right.
No.
So, good for her. LA Knight, AJ Styles is the other match I think really missed the build. I know they tried, but it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Obviously, LA Knight did not get to feature last year. I thought they should have had him come out and mess with The Miz on night 2 instead of Shane McMahon blowing his quads out. But, whatever. It is what it is.
Shane McMahon.
But, everybody forgets that one. Maybe he comes down again and does it again. That'd be hilarious. But anyway, no, LA Knight probably gets the win here. AJ's at the stage in his career where he wants to put over guys. And I think that's probably what happens here.
I don't disagree with you again, man. You hit the nail on the head. This is a match that really could have had more fun of a build. I think they've tried, but for some reason it's not clicking. This really feels like the kind of match that should have been the Philadelphia Street Fight that they used for that 6-man tag match.
Yeah.
But just a regular match after all the fight, like the fighting at AJ's house that they did with the cops involved, and then yesterday at the press conference where LA Knight attacked AJ Styles again. Like with all of that, man, to have a one-on-one just regular sanctioned match just feels wrong for this. And I think actually Styles goes over. It's been a long time for AJ as well. I think he's coming on the tail end of his career, and I think he's going to have one more run towards the top.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would love to agree with you in spirit because I'm actually offended at the thought of AJ having to lose to LA Knight. But what do you do with LA Knight? The fans love him. He's very over, not particularly with me, but he's very over. And I feel like he's the one that business-wise needs to get the win. And you're right, AJ's in the position nowadays where he's pulling a Nakamura. Nakamura's in the same position.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's been around a long time. You know how great he is, but he puts people over nowadays. Let's face it. So really, it's really all about what the future plans are after WrestleMania. And LA Knight needs to have a future plan, needs to win this match.
You're not going to steal the show on a night where you have 2 heavyweight championship matches, but the one that could be the talking point is as far as exceeding expectations. Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. This could be a lot of fun, guys.
I am I have to I've become a Logan Paul fan.
Thank you.
I was going to say
am I allowed to do this? Sorry.
Yeah, but if you put it wait a minute, if you put that in the middle of the ring, I'm going to get mad.
Whoa, you better get ready for tomorrow night.
I'm going to be mad.
You better get ready for tomorrow night.
Get that logo out of the middle of the ring. What are we doing here?
I could not I grew up in the generation of Vine, right? That was huge when we were coming up through high school, and couldn't stand the Paul brothers, really either one of them. Now and then I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I respect these guys' grinds. Logan Paul's going to WWE. That's like my thing. Like I'm not really cool with that. And then he got there, and he has been
great.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He is a WWE superstar, man. It's like he was built to do this.
Yep.
He cares about it. He's constantly in the performance center trying to get better. He is getting better. He's finally getting some love from the fans. If you watch Pat McAfee today, they were chanting his name, and it's like he's like confused. Yeah. This is the first time anybody's ever done this for him. And
looks great.
Yes.
Talks great.
Yes.
Can go.
Yep. He's got the personality.
He's got the 3.
The charisma.
He needs to carry the belt forward, probably lose it at SummerSlam. I'm not sure to who yet, but I think they can play an interesting angle here and spin off Kevin and Randy getting a good program out of this. Somehow something happens. That gives them something to do for a couple of months.
Right.
I think that
this
would be
match
good.
is only going to enhance what Logan Paul's building here. Working with those 2, KO and Randy, this is going to be great.
I'll be perfectly honest. The Seth and Drew match to me is the biggest mystery in my mind of what they could do, because Damian could play a factor. Seth has a terrible record at WrestleMania. He could get something and carry it forward, and we keep playing up the Drew angle. Drew could get screwed by CM Punk somehow, or Drew needs the win. Has Drew signed his contract? There's a million different things going on here. I don't know what's going to happen. I
love it.
We talked a little bit about this, but what do you guys see happening in this match?
I truthfully, I think my real prediction is that Priest will cash in. I think Punk cost Drew the match. Drew beats Punk and Seth down after the match. So Seth retains against Drew. And then that's when Priest comes down and catches in, is after Drew runs through Punk and Seth. So that's when
interesting.
That's really what I think is going to happen in that match.
I feel that, although it seems like Drew should win the match, again, I go with what's in the future, what's good for business. What's good for business is CM Punk sitting at ringside and screwing Drew.
Yeah.
Period. Rollins wins. Rollins is money. He's gold, and there's no reason to take the belt off him right now. There really isn't. It's not stale. The fans absolutely adore him with that whoa, whoa, whoa stuff, It's amazing what a song can do for you, huh?
It is.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, you get the right tune, the next thing you know, you're a legend. Or you're going like this. Yeet, yeet, yeet. I don't know what's going on half the time.
I got involved.
Well, you wore the shirt. You asked for it.
My son has just fell in love with Jey Uso, so I think it's kind of forced me to do the same thing.
I can foresee Jimmy taking a power bomb through the table here pretty soon.
That's all right. I could take bumps. It's okay. He'll have a field day with me. I weigh about as much as a toothpick, so go for it. Oy, what am I saying? Wait a minute.
So I tried to save enough time. I think we have it.
Okay.
Obviously, this may not have started the way they wanted it, although I think a little more of this was done than a lot of people. It was clearly some level of pivot.
Yeah.
The Rock has been on his game like it's 1999 again. I mean, he's that good. Roman has played this well. You don't really know what's going on in the back of his head. He's kind of looking at some things. Who knows what Heyman's going to do going forward? Could Seth turn on Cody? Those two have hated each other a long time. Does Cody finish the story? There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
I've got my thoughts. I'm curious what y'all think. Let's go all the build up and just the excitement you have for it, and then what do we think happens?
I mean, this is it, man. This is really, I don't know how they did this 2 years in a row, because I'm with CM Punk. I hate when the same match main events WrestleMania, not only twice in general, but 2 years in a row. But here I am. I'm excited for this match. Even beyond the tag team match. And obviously the results of that match could completely change how I feel about this match going in. But if what I think is going to happen, right? If it happens with the Bloodline rules, and it's going to be just a total, can't say the word, blank show.
Yeah.
Night 2. That's beautiful. That's good for television. That's good for the pay-per-view. I think that it has to happen. Not only is it going to happen.
Cody winning.
Cody has to win. If they miss the mark with Cody now, this would be, I'll go ahead and say that this would be their biggest swing and miss that the WWE has ever done. In my time as a fan,
I was going to say since turning Austin heel.
Right, yeah. So
that was a bad one.
And I say that in the sense of Cody's got the next generation of WWE fan ready.
Yeah.
And they're ready, man. Just like Cena did. Cena had the next generation. I'm the Cena generation, right? And I'm still here. That next generation, they're wearing the Cody tattoo. They're wearing the clothes. Go ahead. I don't want you to run out
let
of
me
time.
take this first, because your theory that I heard last night is one of the best I've heard yet. So I'm going to let that close. I actually think Roman's going over here. I really do. I think Cody works significantly better as a chaser. Now, that being said, there was some air let out of the balloon last year when he didn't go over. It was salvaged by the crowd at Backlash. And then they told beautiful stories. But all the while, Triple H has said, we're telling a long story here. He said it in the press conference after last year. I think Roman goes over here. I don't know exactly how, but I think so. But I'll be honest, Jimmy, your theory is better than any I've heard, so let's have it.
All right, here we go. This is really about, you can't play the boy cried wolf for too long, okay? Cody needs to finish his story. If you do not let Cody finish his story, you have rendered him valueless, okay?
Yeah.
You won't be able to look at him the same way. Would be the boy who cried wolf.
No title reign's ever going to be good again.
To me, it would be very illogical, not to sound like a Vulcan, but it would be very illogical. Okay, so you got the Bloodline rules as I've established from what I feel is going to happen on night 1. All right, so The Rock does come out at some point. Cody's got the belt. He's right within the grasp of having that belt. Here comes The Rock. Okay, couple of rock bottoms. Roman covers him. Kick out. Whoa, he kicked out. Whoa, whoa, whoa. He's still alive. He's still going. Okay, Triple H comes out, hits Cody with a pedigree. Oh, my God, what's going on here?
Triple H hits Cody?
Oh, yeah. Hits Cody with a pedigree, getting back to what you said was planted, right? Okay? And it's at this moment where we make the old generation of fans happy and we make the new generation of fans happy. The glass crashes. And Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out and hits Roman Reigns with the good old stunner, takes Cody's lifeless body and throws it on top of Roman Reigns. Ow. And the place, by the way, that was a Pepsi can, folks. The place goes berserk. And when Cody comes to, he realizes the belt's in front of him, and he goes straight to Mama Rhodes.
Hey, that you can't end it any better than that, ladies and gentlemen. Great show today. You guys get excited for WrestleMania. We'll see you back here Monday. Don't forget to go nominate all three of our hosts here for the Best of Bay. Go to Ryan Mulvey's Facebook, and you'll get further steps from there. We'll see you guys Monday. Jesus loves you, so do I.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents
Wrestling Against Cancer, number 9.
Saturday, April 27th at Bay Haven Charter Academy. In the main event, it's a tag team showdown with Exodus versus Mike Steele and Mr. 850. Then, Kelly Mann and Kelly Clark in the Wrestling Against Cancer Championship bout. Plus, exciting women's wrestling. Doors open at 5:30. Bell time 6:30.
More information, ESPNPC.com.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday evening. As we head into tonight, clear skies and a low of 52 with a light breeze out of the north around 7 miles per hour. For tomorrow morning, sunshine and a temp near 65. In the afternoon and evening, a wind 8 to 12 miles per hour, mostly sunny and a high around 73. For Sunday, some sun and a high of 71. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Mid-South Lumber, where they treat you like family. Locally owned and serving the residents of Bay County for over 40